Well, I mean, I obviously was charged with federal trespassing and, which is a Class C misdemeanor. But, going through this is just really humiliating and painful. But
the mayor of Newark, New Jersey is in very big trouble, and that might be an understatement.
I was there for over an hour in that space, and nobody ever told me to move. I was in there for over an hour. Not a single person, not an officer from ICE, not any of the security guards. Nobody told me to leave that place.
So even though the mayor is admitting to trespassing, he's claiming it's not trespassing. In this video, we will go over all of the video evidence and we will review the laws on whether or not this mayor is in big trouble. And spoiler alert, he's in big trouble.
Somebody from Homeland Security came in the end and began to escalate the situation, and we wound up being where we are today. And that's, frankly, the extent of it. I didn't go there to break any laws. I didn't break any laws. I was there as the mayor of the city, exercising my right and duty as an elected official.
Now, here comes the fun part, and I'm going to need your help. We have the camera footage. We're going to review it because the mayor is saying Homeland Security, they escalated it. Let's go through the footage, and you let me know in the comments who did what.
Please move out of the way. I can't have everything. You're not a cop. You're not a cop. You're a mayor. That's not how this works. Sir, listen, I'm not asking you again. All right, I've already given you two opportunities now to walk out. You're gonna walk out. I told them I was waiting for you. They're trying to arrest me.
So as you can see, the escalation is totally out of control. Now, the people who just walked into frame, they are members of Congress. Keep that in mind.
It makes no sense. Let me just say you can't
create more problems.
You have the nonsense. You have 20 this is the mayor of the largest city. You are here on private property.
All right, this is the last. I'm not, ma'am. Listen, this is the last one.
Oh, hey, Congresswoman. Let's have some respect. Show some respect.
Calls for a man.
You have no.
If you couldn't understand what they were saying, they were questioning, how could you arrest the mayor? He's the mayor of one of the biggest cities in the United States. And then the congresswoman got upset because the officer called her ma'am and they said, hey, put some respect on her name. She's a congresswoman.
What all of you watch occurred is just how reckless ICE is. It is unacceptable that me as a member of Congress, as a black woman here in this city was just assaulted by multiple ICE officers while regional directors of ICE watched it happen. Since we toured the whole facility with them, no one offered an apology or said anything to me about what occurred out here.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I really do think this congresswoman will be arrested for putting her hands on a police officer. So make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel or interact with the video so you can keep up to date on what's going to happen with her. So again, make sure you guys subscribe because I'm going to be making a video on that as well. Now, as far as the mayor saying I have the right to be in the area because I'm the mayor, I did a bunch of research and nowhere says just because you are the mayor, you can walk onto any property you want. In fact, it's the complete opposite. It does not legally entitle the mayor to physically enter the facility without permission or a court order. Inspections typically require coordination, notice, or judicial approval, especially for properties not owned by the city. And again, this is a contracted facility contracted by the federal government.
Frankly, the extent of it. I didn't go there to break any laws. I didn't break any laws. I was there as the mayor of the city, exercising my right and duty as an elected official, supporting our Congress people, preparing for a press conference that was supposed to happen there. I did not enter that place unlawfully. I did not break any laws. And so all of that is incorrect.
Now check this out. Here's what Homeland Security has to say about all of this. Today, as a bus of detainees was entering the security gate of Delaney Hall Detention Center, a group of protesters, including 2 members of U.S. Congress, stormed the gate and broke into the detention facility. The allegations by the Newark politicians that Delaney does not have the proper permitting is false.
I would never have anyone accuse me of storming a federal facility. I would not have waited an hour and a half if my intent was to storm the ICE detention center. If they're so concerned about these things, they'd be more vocal critics of what happened on January 6th, and they would not be so concerned with 3 members of Congress. By the way, 2 women, female members of Congress, and myself going there. We posed clearly no threat. They know that. They're trying to spin and gaslight the American people. It's what they've done every day of their administration.
Now here's where things get interesting. Just because they are members of Congress, still, there is no law that says they have explicit access to any federal facility you want. No federal law grants members of Congress blanket access to any property, federal, private, or otherwise, without permission. Their ability to enter a facility depends on agency cooperation, legal authority, court orders, or subpoenas, which they did not have any of it. All they kept saying was, well, we are members of Congress. We can, oversee federal buildings because, we have oversight on all of these things.
And myself, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, and Congressman Rob Menendez. We're here conducting an oversight visit, which we had the power to do as congressional members. Statutory authority. And so that is what we're here for, and we're waiting to speak to a supervisor to let us in here because, as you can see, they will not let us in.
Again, there is no law that states that a working member of Congress has the open invitation or open pass to go onto any federal property to conduct whatever investigation they want to do. They cannot do that. If that was the case, anyone could just walk on Area 51 and just let us know, are there aliens or not? That doesn't happen because it can't happen. It's not legal.
We just spoke with Congresswoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman, who was there with you today, and she said you were on public property at the time of your arrest. She also said that you left the premises when officers asked you to. Were you told at all why you were charged with trespassing?
No, they charged me, I guess, based on the charge that they can find. We was actually allowed on the property in the first place. Nothing happened for a long, long time. For at least over an hour. And then, after they finally told us to leave and I told them I was leaving, they came outside the gate and arrested me. So it looked like it was targeted.
One of my favorite parts about this entire story is how the left-leaning media thinks they are helping the mayor out, but they're only making things worse. He keeps saying on national television, yeah, I was on the property, but then I left. That's not how the law works. If I stole something and then I left, you can still get arrested for not being on that property because you were on the property and you stole something.
It certainly looked like that from watching, and I know there's lots of questions I'm sure you have, we all have. Have you heard, are those charges still pending? Have they been dropped? Have you been given any indication of that?
No, they haven't been dropped. I can't completely talk about the particulars of the case, they said, but have to appear in court again. So they have not dropped the charges. I've been charged with a Class C misdemeanor, a federal trespass.
Now I know what you're all asking. Will the mayor go to jail? Could he go to jail? Will he get fined? Surely he will. Well, according to the internet, he could face up to 30 days in jail, and he could face up to a $500 fine. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, the entire world is now looking at this story, so it could have been worth it for the mayor to do all of this. But he's saying it's not a publicity stunt.
The response from others, including some people inside the administration, is pointing to the fact that you're a Democrat and you're running for governor in your state and accusing you of basically conducting a publicity stunt. And I wonder what you would say to them tonight.
Well, I think the publicity stunt is this idea that we should violate the court orders, violate the Constitution of the United States, that we should run roughshod over state and local laws. The reality in America is that if we're having a dispute, then we settle it in the court. The city of Newark has a dispute with GEO. about a certificate of occupancy, about them allowing our inspectors in the buildings, health inspectors and fire inspectors, who they've been rejecting every day. Every day we go there, we put the thing on the door and we leave. We're in court right now.
Now, one thing I do want to point out is, and give some credit to the mayor, it's true. He has been trying to take this to court and go through the legal process to try and get access into the facility. However, the criticism is he waited till after the facility was up and running and after the fact that ICE already did all of the work to fix the facility so that, you know, these illegal immigrants actually have a proper living space.
What are the Democrats' priorities? So the mayor of Newark oversees a city that right now has a huge problem with their airport. It's an international hub. He's not dealing with that problem. It's a city that has a higher than usual crime rate compared to the national average. And what is he doing? He's showing up at a federal facility, trespassing, breaking in, and getting arrested for show. And then the congressmen who are and women who are there with him go out to the cameras and claim that they're assaulted. Well, it's not assault when you break in to federal property, and it is a federal crime to trespass without permission. And I think if you look at the way that certain people have been prosecuted for trespassing on federal property, and Democrats continue to say the law is the law, that maybe they should be prosecuted in the same way as the insurrectionists. Exactly.
Harold.
Now, I do want to point out a lot of Democrats are starting to rally around this situation. So without a doubt, this looks like it's going to be the new movement in which Democrats try to represent or try to get in on. I mean, you have Senator Cory Booker and many other senators and members of Congress, of course, all Democrats, who are saying, ICE, what you did was wrong. How could you arrest the mayor? What are you doing? We need to get rid of ICE. We need to abolish ICE. This is the rhetoric we are starting to see from Democrats revolving around this situation.
No, I don't have any regrets at all. I went down there to support my Congress people, my Congresswoman from my district, Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman as well, who is like a mother to us here, and Congressman Menendez, who's also from our district. I went down there to support them in a press conference, and I would do it again. I have a right to go to those facilities as the mayor of the city. Fire inspector has a right to be on those facilities. And it is not federal property. It's in fact private property. GEO is privately owned. It's a private prison that these people are getting $63 million to do this work. And they have to abide by local laws. That's just a fact. I don't care what our political differences is. They still have to abide by the law.
So as you can see, the mayor is saying, I have the right to be on that property. And he does have the right, if he has the proper notice and paperwork, like we talked about, to include those members of Congress. Now, something else I want to point out, there seems to be a big dispute. Delaney Hall is a private facility, but where it's in a different jurisdiction is that it works with the federal government, which means the federal government has jurisdiction and looks over it. This is why those members of Congress showed up and they thought, well, we're part of the federal government, so this means we can walk in on Delaney Hall, when that is not the case as well. So we will have to wait and see what happens. The Trump administration has not really talked about it too much, or J.D. Vance or anybody, Tom Homan, Stephen Miller, none of them. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you guys for being here. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. I have plenty of other videos coming out about this topic as well, and we'll see you all later. God bless.